This computer. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today Canadian MVP show. I have been joined by my friend Rahat, who is one of the uh, AI MVP from Canada, and I will say only one out of two AI MVP. He has such a credentials, like I could speak for him for hours. Uh, and thank you so much for joining on live session, Rahat.
Thank you so much, and thank you for watching our show. And Deepak always says a lot of kind thing about me, but Deepak is a humble man. You all know him, and he's one of the 20 or 25 Azure MVP in Canada as well. He's working for like over 20 years in this domain. So whoever is watching this show, I find it's a great opportunity for someone who is starting their career in AI or Azure or even in the cloud world or in general IT. Someone like Deepak is here. You can ask him question. You can get information up from his experience. You can get a lot of knowledge from him. So watch out and like ask your question. Don't be shy.
Thank you, thank you. I could see so many folks, eight folks join from, and I know a couple of them, student from University of Windsor and University of Waterloo. So thank you everyone for joining our show. And today we are talking about very interesting topic, that is Gen AI for Solution Architect and Microsoft Fabric. We want to talk about something which is in demand and industry is moving in that way. That is the core intent over here, sharing that knowledge. And thank you so much for everyone who gave us feedback. Hey, Deepak, we want more sessions. So most likely we are bringing couple of Microsoft folks who could go in further detail. That would be quite, yeah, quite informative session with some further details. So, having said that, I will be transferring control to Rahat, where he will be sharing about Gen AI for Solution Architect. Over to you, Rahat.
Yes, I'm gonna share my screen. Perfect. So as Deepak was saying, we will have two different presentation like today in the first one. Generative AI for solution architects. What is it? If you're a solution architect, how can you use it? What are the tools? Like that kind. It's kind of like a series that we are running. If you have watched previous four of our videos, we have already given demos of a lot of things that we will talk about today. And the second thing that Deepak will talk about is Microsoft Fabric. So it's a great new tool that Microsoft is launching, and it's very exciting right now that you're getting to learn all those like new things from this show. Okay, so without spending any more time, as we have limited amount of time for this session, so let's jump in. So the first thing, if you're a solution architect, where can you use generative AI? So the first thing I see is integrating Gen AI models in your workflow automation. So what does it mean? So if you're building a RPA, robotic process automation, or some sort of like bot, or some sort of like a workflow automation, so you have a customer service email ID. You are receiving different types of email. Some of them are last week we were talking about that one. Some of them are complaints. Some of them are issues. Some of them are rating that kind. So no one has time to read all those emails one by one. So as a generative AI, like as a solution architect, you can build an automation or workflow automation. What will happen whenever email is arriving on that email box, your Gen AI workflow will be triggered. It will take that email, convert it, parse it, summarize it, identify the classification. Is it a complaint type, issue type, question type, rating type, and then after creating that summary, send it to the right individual. So this type of like workflow automation can be like a great new addition to the tool set of solution architect, and then they can save a lot of time by building this type of tools like that for your business side or your IT operations. Understanding Gen AI lifecycle. These days we hear a lot about like creating images, having a chatbot, doing semantic search, or doing different types of like document search as well. So when you, as a solution architect, if you want to use those tools, you need to understand the generative AI lifecycle. So we will talk about that one in this session as well. Understanding use cases, LLM ops, limitations, ways to improve your tool. One of the thing is a lot of people are just trying to use OpenAI GPT 3.5, GPT-4, or GPT-4, that type of like language models. And then when they find out GPTs are trained on general data, general use cases, it is not trained on your specific use cases. So the moment you are using those general models, you will see some limitations. So you need to know how to avoid those limitations, how to retrain your model, fine tune your model, those kind of things. So this is what we will talk. And generative, as a solution architect, you can help a lot regarding those. And then use GenAI in your day-to-day activities as a solution architect. If you're configuring a cloud tool, workspace, some sort of like network infrastructure, you need to know different types of like configuration, the cost of different types of like models. So you can use generative AI-based chatbot for your day-to-day helping hand or assistant kind of activities. And then as a solution architect, you produce a lot of document. Sometimes it's like configuration, sometimes it's a wiki, sometimes it's general description. You can create your own GPT chatbot on all those documentation support, so that when someone else is working on your platform, without asking you hundreds of questions, they can find everything by doing some quick chat. The RAG example that we showed you last week on Montreal and Toronto, you can build your own chatbot on your own organizational PDFs or documents. So this is something kind of like it gives us a data democratization process, or more into like empower the juniors that will work in your team. So as a solution architect, you have a lot of like use cases you can see from a generic AI point of view. Last 2 weeks or 3 weeks actually, we showed a lot of like demos of a lot of tools. First one we showed about is OpenAI Playground. Then we talked about model catalog from Azure AI Studio. We also like showed demo of prompt flow review, like prompt flow 2, the one Microsoft has launched. We created a Wikipedia like classifier. So like if you haven't seen that demo, go back to the previous videos and watch that one. And last week we showed RAG, like a retrieval augmented generation example. So you saw that how can you create your own chatbot on Toronto or Montreal that have like historical cases. So as a solution architect, you need to know and learn those tools that we already have shown. But today, mostly we will talk about enterprise side of the generative AI. How can you fix the issues? What is LLM ops? That kind. So the first thing you need to know, as we showed some demo last week, the RAG, retrieval augmented generation. How to use it? What is the workflow looks like? So what happened in terms of RAG? So this is the kind of like LLM workflow. So RAG has two types of model. One is embedding model. You saw last week we showed LLM embedding 0002 or ADA, that type of like OpenAI models. Those creates the embedding of the text or document that we provide and stored them in a vector document or vector representation. And the second one is large language model. So large language model is used during the conversational process. So if you remember last week, we first selected the Wikipedia URL. We gave it to the our OpenAI playground. OpenAI playground fetched everything from the Wikipedia, convert them from HTML to text, and then created a index, a complete vector representation of that one. So the first part is actually the vector representation. And then whenever we were asking a question, tell me the population of Montreal, what was happening is the LLM model understanding what we are asking and then finding the right information from that search index into the right representation or response. So that understanding the question and creating that right response is done by the large language model. So that's why there are two AI model is working here. So whenever we are asking question, a retrieval augmented generation process, we take the already the question like what is the population of Montreal. We convert them into index. We do the searching. We do the searching. What are the like information related to this individual search index? What is the population of Montreal? And then from your vector representation, you get, oh, it's 2 million people or that type of numbers. And then you usually once you convert that search index, add it into your prompt, and then send it to your query model creates the right representation or response based on, oh, 2 million is the right answer, so create a sentence based on that. It creates the Montreal temper like a population based on 2020 survey is 2 million people. So this representation or response is created by the LLM model, and then it sends you the result, and then you see the response. So that's how the RAG or chat GPT kind of process works. You ask the question, convert that into search index, do the searching on the search index, add it into the prompt. On that prompt, use LLM to understand the question, understand how to respond to that question, prepare the response of that question based on the search result you get, and then send the response. So this is how the simple process looks like. But again, if you want to know the more complex process, so that's how it looks like. So this is a I've taken this one from a GitHub blog, the ideal architecture of today's LLM application. So whenever an end user, me or you, asking question to chat GPT, so we have the end user is asking question through UI. Whenever we are asking, tell me the like a population of Montreal, it goes into two different part. First one goes into the the query side. Second one goes into the embedding model side. So you can see embedding model, this one that we talked about. Embedding model, convert that one into the right query embedding, and then map it with the embedding database, match it with the vector database, find out the right information, apply some sort of data filtering, and then, as I said, 2020, the population of Montreal, 2 million, those two values, 2020 and 2 million, are fetched by your vector embedding process. So you get this to answer, you get the question, you combine these two into the initial prompt, you use prompt optimization tool. If you have a big response or big question with a lot of information, you do some optimization, and then you give all those information. This is the question, these are the answers from the GPT, this is the response that the user is looking for. You give it to LLM actual API, actual LLM model. LLM model apply some sort of like content classifier or filter as well. Am I giving the right answer? Is it harmful? Is it some sort of violent? When you check all those information filtering, and then you create the right LLM output, send it to the GPT or send it to the GP chatbot, and then end users see that end output that you were anticipating or asking for. So this is the real enterprise process looks like. So this is this simple version. Two AI model, one embedding model, one LLM model, but this is the actual workflow. Two model here as well. One is embedding model, another one is LLM model. We use vector DB to search, do the searching of the augmented generation. We use prompt optimization, and then we create the right LLM output after passing through the content classifier and everything, and then show the result in the UI. So this is how the entire process looks like. Every time we ask something to ChatGPT, if it has the RAG integration, it goes through all those steps. So it's pretty complex, but we just get to see the UI. You ask something, you get something. Okay, so as a solution architect, if you want to build the same process on an enterprise level for your organization, there are certain things you need to keep it in your mind. You cannot just do a POC and then expect that, oh, everything is done. No. For the enterprise level, there are like three loops we walk through. You need to manage the entire LLM. You need to first do the ideation and exploration. Then you need to build it based on your use cases and augment it. And then the last and the most important part is operationalization. So your model needs to be operationalized to be used in a production environment. So that's how you build the enterprise LLM. So if we talk about very high level, so what are those individual things you need to do on each step? So the first thing is ideation and exploring loop. So first, you need to understand the business requirement, what you are trying to build, what problem you are trying to solve. You need to choose foundational models like GPT 3.5, GPT Turbo, GPT-4. Don't go for like fancy models initially, and do basic data preparation, basic prompt, basic limitation, so that you know what type of request you will provide, what is the response you are expecting. so that you can do some initial check. Once you do it, so this is kind of like the POC phase. Once you do the POC, you see that okay, you can use it, you can build that one. Now go for actual development phase. So which is the building and augmenting loop. Under this side, you need to like guide and enhance your LLM specific need. So the basic thing is not working anymore, so you need to do something advanced, like you need to like retrain your base model on your local data or real time data. So you need to add some new data. As I said, GPTs are trained on basic information or like regular information. It doesn't know your specific need, specific question or data. So you need to like retrain the model with your own specific local data. Then you need to add a RAG. So as we talk about how that RAG works, so you need to give more information to the like to the GPT model, and RAG is one of the best way. You can even connect SQL database or non-SQL database through your prompt for better understanding or better information searching or better context to your model. Sometime you may even need to like find your LLM model based on your the type of response you're looking. So what does it mean? If you are training, you have your basic model is giving basic response to certain types of people, but your GPT model will be used for kids or older generation, so they expect the response different than regular adults. So you can fine tune based on your request and response, and then train the GPT how you are expecting it to respond in certain situation, certain question or examples, so that it knows how to answer. And then the best way is combine your prompt engineering, RAG, and fine tuning together to get the optimal result. So you should not just like try one and avoid those two. No, try everything so that you get the right answer on a like enterprise level. Then the operational. So you have a bot, you trained it, you retrain on your own data, you applied fine tuning, you add SQL data, non-SQL data for document or information retrieval. Now what? So you need to have LLM transition from development to production. You need to put it into deployment phase. You need to deploy it. You need to monitor. You need to add content safety part through proper CI/CD. Why? Because LLMs can give wrong information. So that is normal. So it is your responsibility to add content safety so that LLM doesn't give any false information, like or violent information or sexual information, that kind. You can always use Azure AI prompt flow for deployment process of LLM, and you can completely automate that entire workflow as well. The demo that we showed last week, so you can like go and check that one. AML collects production data, which is Azure Machine Learning collects the production data whenever you're asking. So you can use that one for monitoring purpose, cost reduction purpose, cost understanding purpose, so that you are not spending thousands of dollars on LLM like a fancy deployment. And the last thing is you can detect your drift. You can like identify when to retrain the model, when this model is not performing well. So this is also like a very important part for you as well. And the managing loop. So putting the model into production is not that's not like your work is not done yet. So you need to maintain this enterprise life cycle. You need to maintain the governance, management, and the security as well, and you need to follow always all the responsible AI principles. So this is how we see it on a enterprise level, like understanding how RAG works, understanding like individual steps, adding vector database, using two different LLM models, using prompt optimization tool as well, adding content classification or data filter so that the LLM doesn't give any like privacy related information or wrong information. And once you ensure everything, then go through the POC phase, building and development phase, operationalization phase, and then the management or managing phase. So that's it from my side. My quick
Thank
first
you, thank
presentation
you.
on NLM and RAG. But in our next video, I will also talk about what is LLM ops, how can you make your LLM faster or smarter, and also what are the use cases you can solve and cannot solve with LLM.
Thank you so much, Rahat. It
Thank
is
you, bro.
so interesting, and every time, whenever we look over, this is this is a ocean of knowledge which come directly from expert. It is so interesting, and every day I learn a lot, and because in I know industry is moving towards blend of cloud, different opportunity, as well as AI, and we
Yeah.
could not survive without AI. It is the same thing which I was saying when I start into cloud in 2016. It's around 8 years before. Like, it's difficult to
Yeah.
survive without cloud, and
100%.
that's why industry move over there. But I think eventually how industry is shaping now, we are not into single cloud domain. Enterprise are into multiple,
Yeah.
and everyone need to mm, every it's requirement of time. We need to be cognizant enough to use various cloud offering on multiple clouds, as well as blend with Gen AI. We certainly could not survive without that. So thank you so much for a wonderful session. And what I'm gonna to talk about is, as we were discussing about, we will talk about Microsoft Fabric. This is another thing which is uh, come into market last year, and I did a couple of demos and session. Basically, it is unified analytics solution with a flavor of AI. So it is combination of so many things, and that's what we are going to talk about. And thank you so much, folks. Around 23 folks join right now. It is so incredible to see on Sunday morning you are joining Canadian MVP show, and we could not thank you enough. Like, from last 6 years, constantly you guys are engaging with different MEPs on this MVP show. So thank you so much. So we will touch base on various basic things. If someone is starting, what is motivation for them for Microsoft Fabric? What is One Lake? We will talk about Lakehouse, data warehousing, data science, real-time analytics, data factory, as well as Fabric capacity and planning. We will also touch base about Copilot and my recommendation. So if you look over Microsoft Fabric over here, and we will do some demo, I will showcase you firsthand detail over there. You could see it is unified model. So basically, for analysis, you have Power BI, you have ADF, Azure Data Factory for orchestration and ETL scenarios, data movement. You have data activator, which take actions automatically when changing conditions. We have Synapse data engineering. Synapse is mature enough. Eventually, it is building more. So Synapse data science uh, and real-time analytics. So we will take a look on all those. But I would want to thank you for, I want to drag your attention here for this slide, and where we could look over what is the prefabric era. Like, over there we have data mapping, data flow, we have SQL Server, and then it's Synapse come, which come with a blend of covering so many things. However, Fabric cover pipeline, data warehousing, Spark Job, Notebook, data flow, reports, and data mart. What is remaining? That's why it is the unified solution, and that's what we required. And we could use one leverage solution. We could leverage Fabric itself, and use it. So Fabric, if I have to define a unified platform that bring all the data and analytics tool together for organization to use, uh, we are using one already. Oh, we are using it now. In 2 months, I think we will be live with Fabric. So that is the beauty I'm getting over here. I'm not using like Azure data lake or data bricks over there for Medallion architecture and ADF and Power BI. We are using this time holified solutioning around Microsoft Fabrics. So it will also help me with the security and governance and all those business models. So that is so critical for each and every one of us. So if I have to define Microsoft Fabric, I would say we could think of considering Power BI Workspace and adding SaaS version. We have backend Fabric capacity similar to Power BI capacity, so we are not dependent more on Synapse data warehousing unit. It has serverless pool and dedicated combination into one, and no Azure portal or subscription. So basically, if any user won't realize they are using Azure. So in past, if we have to use create a lakehouse or synapse or storage, this is how we are creating. Like we are providing synapse resource group, what we have to do. But now, if we have to create a lakehouse, we have only this lakehouse name, hit create, and you are all done. If you have to create a layer synapse workspace, this is how you were creating. But now you don't necessarily need to create in this way. No, so many information you need to provide. You have to give a warehouse name, hit create, and you are all done. So whether you are data engineer, data science, data analytics, any data citizen, you will be leveraged with Fabric over here. It is the perfect tool. You could, any data engineer can do with data factory and data warehousing. uh, Data science can leverage data science and machine learning, Azure machine learning, and data analytics can leverage with the help of Power BI and data warehousing. And it is Office 365. So basically, that is the beauty of it. One Lake, if I have to make you understand about One Lake, it is kind of one drive uh, of your personal email, so or personal account, Azure Drive or Microsoft OneDrive. So it is almost similar to that. So if you are uh, on different systems, you could just pull your resource and storage over there. So it is single unified logical lake of all organization. You could consider it as good as your drive or Apple Drive or any drive. Like OneDrive only come automatically with when Microsoft Fabric is created. So basically, uh, you could consider it OneDrive version of your enterprise. So I have this. This is for my OneDrive, which I have used. You could see it come here, into my machine, and I have different data. So that is the beauty. It is in your system sitting over there. You could leverage it. So similarly for lake house, as we know, lake house architecture, we talk a lot, and specifically Canadian MEP. So we had so many discussion over here for medallion architecture, for bronze, silver, and gold. We have how the transformation is happening, and it is also lake blended with the lake house thing. So if you have some data, whether it is a streaming or batch load or structure, unstructure, and what else under the sun, right? It has the capability of process all of that data, and you could leverage it with the help of the lakehouse. And you could see where we have data source in JSON store, and we could expose that. So in lakehouse, you have to give the name of lake house, and it will be created as I have highlighted over here. So when we will do demo, we could see it is like this and lake house, and you have to give the name. Now those days are gone where you have to provide huge amount of details. So now you have to provide the detail, and it will take care of everything. Synapse Data Warehouse, Azure SQL Data Warehouse in 2016 and 17, when I use it, flew to Seattle um, for talk at DevOps Lab. Now that renamed to Azure Synapse, and now Synapse come further. So it is analytical scenario where It is used Synapse for huge amount of data for, terabyte, petabyte, whatever it is. It is, it can take off incredible amount of data. So basically, we could leverage that, and whatever the your data source are, it we could do the ingestions. We could mount it or pipeline can build the pipeline and process the data, save the data into their data warehouse. We could certainly transform it, and then data will be available for the end users for analytics purposes. Warehouse, as you could see over here, we need to provide the name of warehouse. So you will be really thinking now, and it will drag your attention as well. Hey, we have everything available over here. That is the beauty of fabrics, right? You don't have to go beyond fabric ecosystem. You have everything available over here, and whether we look over a warehouse or lake house, or uh, ETL tools, everything is available. Compare the warehouse and the SQL endpoint. So basically, you could see Fabric Workspace has TSQL Lakehouse for read only, and for write only as well. Read and write, you could perform it Synapse Data Warehouse. So if you have some operation need to be perform only for read, then SQL endpoint is your option. Otherwise, a Synapse Data Warehouse will be your best bet. Uh, these are, costing perspective, uh, for Microsoft Fabric offering, like for licensing, Fabric or Power BI Premium is required for warehousing. SQL endpoint for Fabric and Power BI, both are, warehouse is ACID compliant. That is the beauty of it. Whereas Lakehouse is not a recommended use case for enterprise use for warehousing, support departmental business unit, structured analysis. It support for data loading by SQL pipeline data flow, and it read and write table, whereas SQL endpoint only for read data table. That also reflected in their costing as well. Once we have data available, so what we did, we have source, we have ETL operation, we transform that data. Once we transform that data, now we are doing data science. And interestingly, you are not going anything beyond fabric over here. So data science analytics is also available, and you could leverage it, lake house, bronze, silver, or gold as per your business the requirements. Most of time it is the gold, or sometimes we use the we use as well in the gold, or put any semantic layer. That depend. I don't want to go into detail over there, but this is how we are doing for data science. And once data is clean and stored, we could leverage it. We could train our model. We could apply and test, and we could expose. So as I said, while we speak, in 2 months we are going live for one of our real-time fabric scenario, and so far uh, we found it quite it leverages us to provide us all the prerequisite tool. We are not going beyond that. That is the benefit of this. So real-time analytics can be performed with Fabric. So end-to-end Fabric scenario, we could leverage Event Hub, IoT Hub, whatnot, over there. Once we have data available here on Lakehouse, uh, structure, unstructured streaming data, we could do one only from one single source of truth would be the solutioning, where whatever the data type is, we could load batch load or continuous integration, and then we could transform that data. Maybe Custo, I use Custo load, uh, and then we could mirror it, and that data will be available for the analytics by Power BI and different models. So real-time analytics, if we have to perform, it is so simple. Like for event stream, what we are going to do, Custo query language database or query set or event stream, we could create it and it will be so helpful. Now I'm not talking about some different tool like autoloader or IoT Hub or Event Hub. Event Hub is now, IoT Hub is more mature. So, but uh, we could leverage real time synapse analytics and it worked really smoothly. We are using it for one of the utility client and which is streaming huge amount of data from different sites and every day I'm feeling more confident. Fabric licensing, billing and pricing. Each organization need to have organizational license. So similar concept which we will do for Azure pricing calculator as well, enterprise agreement and whatnot, 3 year capacity, 2 year contract. So basically Microsoft Fabric capacity is on tenant and each side under specific tenant is distinct form. So Fabric licensing and pricing, if you have to look over Azure, as you know, build per second with no commitment. Microsoft 365 build monthly. So that is pretty much on Fabric, and we will look over the demo further. So if whatever the question you have, please feel free to ask questions. Me and Rahat is always available along with our another Canadian MEPs who always give you the answers. And in next session, what we are going to do, we will uh, we will certainly do some demos and yeah, all these videos will be available. We will look over, a couple of things. Having said that, anything you want to add, Rahat?
No, that is perfect. In our next session, we will go a bit more detail on the LLM ops from my side, and you can also as you said, he will go into the Fabric side more in detail. So that's an exciting part. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you everyone for joining and happy to see we hit around 27 folks now. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye for now.